This podcast does contain spoilers, so if you're okay with that, listen on. If not, pause the podcast, go watch the movie we're about to talk about, and come on back.
All right, sweet.
Excuse me.
Brandon, over here. Hey.
Pardon me.
Why don't you have the popcorn? It's starting!
Woo! Hey!
Shut up. Shut up and listen to the podcast. Hey!
There's a lot out there to see. This is what we watched.
Maybe it was her blood and she just wanted to speak to you. You never pick up on people hitting on you, man.
I don't. It's a really good point. Shit, that is a creative way. That is a very creative way to start a conversation. I don't think it's the most successful, but it's a creative way.
I know how to kick off the podcast, Brandon. Are you bleeding? Are you bleeding? I can't tell. There's some blood over here.
Let me check.
Well, actually, honestly,
no, I don't.
Based off of your background, because we are recording this, there's definitely blood in your house. And based off of your background.
Yeah, I'll clean that up later.
Also, have you ever noticed that you have a, right around somewhere over your left shoulder, there's a ghost that fades in and out?
No, I did not notice that.
Oh, you've never noticed it? Yep. There's a ghost that fades slowly in and out. And I think that's the only thing. Your chandelier swings. Obviously, we know that, and you have a fire. Yes. But other than that,
it's a rickety chandelier. It's a rickety old house. But yeah, Paul's really cool. He'll pop in every once in a while.
My dad's over there. That's weird.
I forgot about that. I forgot your dad's name is Paul. Yeah, no, it's we have conversation. Well, he has a conversation with me. I don't say anything to him.
And you know why he's there? To watch what we watched. To listen to what we watched. To experience what we watched. To attend what we watched.
Participate in what we watched.
Is he going to participate?
Well, he's, apparating on and off, so somewhat.
We'll call that participating. So if I run off, backing off on the screen and don't say anything, sounds good. Sounds like a plan. Deal.
Participation trophies.
Hell yeah.
What we watched is a movie review podcast. It's a podcast for TV lovers. It's a podcast for movie lovers. It's a podcast for those who like high intense sports. Because we're a sports podcast.
When did you add the it's a podcast for every single time? Because I feel like it used to be it's a podcast for movie lovers, TV lovers, and some random shitty joke that you have. When did you change? When did you add it? Did you realize you changed it?
Random.
Did you realize you changed it?
No, I did. Okay. Until you said that, I went, I don't think I... Oh, yeah, I guess I did. I did change it. Got to keep it fresh. I got to keep it,
Heard. Maybe, I assume I'm the only one that noticed. Because I listen to you all the fucking time.
Forced friendship. That's the only way to go about it.
Hey, I know why you picked this movie also. Because, hey, despite what it said last week... And I think you're going to talk, you said you want to say something about I saw the TV glow or whatever, right?
I do, but yes.
We'll get to that in a second. Our main topic today will be challengers. Despite what it said last week, and last week we did say we're going to do I saw the TV glow, but Brandon will explain in a second why not. I personally haven't seen it, so it's going to be the words of Brandon, whatever. I know why you picked Challenger. You know why? Because they also have different colors on the hyperlinks on IMDb. They're like pink or like kind of a purplish. So I assume that's what you're just going off of.
That's exactly. I'm scouring through all of the IMDb pages, and anything that is fun to look at and a little bit, quirky, that's what I'm going with.
But anyway, so all right, the challengers is going to be the main topic. So that's the spoil. You're going to talk about before we get into challengers. You're going to talk about I saw the TV glow. Now, I'm just going to say right now, I didn't put in the description, not in the title. There will be spoilers for this because Brandon's Brandon. He refuses to not. I would say if you guys really care, unfortunately skip this couple minutes. It won't be crazy long. But other than that, so Brandon, what'd you think about I saw the TV glow?
So I saw the TV glow, which is a mouthful. This is the first time that I can really remember A24 really letting me down. because I was going in with, somewhat okay expectations about what I thought was going to be this mind-bending kind of thriller, horror-esque about this paranormal kind of activity going on in the 90s, and that's not what we got at all. We got some absurd film school-esque experimental film about some really awkward teenagers, and I guess it was almost a coming-of-age story, kind of, but it just was really disappointing because there was no real overall story, plot, character development. There wasn't really a statement or a message. There really wasn't a point to this movie in any way, shape, or form. The redeeming qualities are the main guy, Justice Smith, who we know from Dungeons and Dragons. He did a good job.
Detective
Pikachu Detective. Yes.
Pikachu, detective.
He did a good job at being really awkward and, unsure of himself and very...
Oh, he played you?
Hey-oh. And yeah, well, kind of timid. And so he did a good job with that character, and the color palette was gorgeous, and it was a lot of fun to look at, and it was, it's got a lot of fun imagery, but it just made zero sense, and it didn't feel like there was a point to what the characters were doing. Basically, all it was is these kids are obsessed with this kind of cult classic TV show. Think Buffy the Vampire Slayer, but like dumbed down like seven layers. So there's this TV show that goes into basically the paranormal, and there's a monster of the week, and the kid, Justice Smith's character, can't watch TV like past like 9 o'clock or something. So he sneaks out and goes to this other awkward person's house once a week to start watching the show, becomes obsessed with it. She's like, we're going to run away. So get your shit and we're going to go. He's like, yeah, no, I'm not doing that. I want to stay here. I don't want to leave my home. So she disappears, and like 10 years later just comes back. It's like, hey, do you remember me? I went into the TV show. That's a real place. It's a real thing. And
nice. Hell
yeah.
Sounds chill.
Yeah. And so he's like, you're, what the hell's happening? Where have you been? Tell somebody. We all thought you're dead. And then she redisappears, and it cuts to 20 years in the future, and he's working at like a Dave and Buster's basically. And I don't know if he is actually like in the TV show, because he cuts open his chest at one point and there's just TV static coming out, and then he comes out and like no one's paying attention to him or acknowledging him. It's all over the place, man. It makes zero sense. I don't really know how it ends. I don't know what I was supposed to feel. It was boring, and I didn't care for it.
Let's see, Jane Schumacher? No, Schoenbrunn. Jane Schoenbrunn.
Yes,
is the director and writer. It looks like it's one of her mostly. It looks like she did We're All Going to the World's Fair, and then other than that, it's kind of like one of her first things. But yeah, I mean, like you said, it might be film school-esque, which I think it might be.
Yeah,
her film school. I don't know if it is her film school, but very early on in the process. So still learning, still adapting. It sounds like there's at least some good parts to it. Looking at the ratings aren't awful. Like IMDb is 6.9. Rotten Tomato was, I want to say it was 70 audience and 84 critics. So critics actually liked it. But yeah, I haven't seen it. The trailer looked good to me. I'll probably still see it. Just to support, minority directors and small names and stuff like that. To at least get some more money for the smaller budgets and the smaller people, and hopefully they will keep making movies, whether it's good, whether it's bad, who gives a shit. But sweet. So sounds like that was a dud, but people should still see it because support everybody. Support people.
Well, support indie filmmaking, and yes, it is definitely independent, and it's definitely experimental, and it does have some good nuggets here and there. But overall, definitely don't need to see it in theaters. See it where you can. The other thing that I also saw, and I'll again just briefly mention, I saw If with John Krasinski's newest film that's out right now.
Another pause is Brandon might be also spoiling If. So if you care about this, jump, I guess, farther ahead. Now, I apologize for people who stopped here thinking the other stuff was done. Go ahead, Brandon.
No. This one, I'm very briefly. I thought If was a delight. I won't spoil anything. I thought it was a wonderful, wonderful movie. It was very lighthearted. It was very fun. Everything was taken super realistically and super seriously with a lighthearted kind of spin on everything. Acting was fantastic. The graphics were absolutely incredible. I guess the only spoilery thing is If stands for imaginary friends, so there will be creatures and things, and all of the ifs were incredibly realistic and incredibly well done. Just highly recommend this one. I smiled the entire time. Wonderful, wonderful film, and I encourage everyone to go and see this one.
All right, so what we know is Brandon is opposite from the critics. You hated I Saw the TV Glow, which had 84% from critics on Rotten Tomato, and you loved If, which had 48% on Rotten Tomato for critics.
Yeah,
critics
they don't know what they're talking
If.
about. They don't know what they're talking about.
Hey, I'm with you, because to roll into our main topic, Challengers, the fact to me that Challengers has a higher rating than Kingdom to the Planet of the Apes is possibly a war crime, because that's insane to me. That is absolutely freaking bonkers to me that Challengers has a higher rating than Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. I liked I liked parts of it, but overall I think you ironically, because I know he isn't a brand new director. He's done stuff, and we'll talk about him in a second, but I watched this and was like, why did we fit all of the experimental, weird, random crap that you've always wanted to do? You fit it all in one movie. And I really did not. I overall walked out not enjoying this movie. But
really? Okay.
Fucking dude. We had a POV of the tennis ball. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
And also,
we did.
We'll get to that in a second. The director, I'll let you pronounce that motherfucker's name.
I feel like I should get this right because I've heard it before. So I'm gonna go. It's Luca Guadagnino.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable. We've talked about him on here because he did Bones and All, which we had a whole episode on Bones and All. Let me see if I can possibly find it real quick.
Ooh, if I was gonna guess, I'm gonna guess that was episode 18. I feel like that was fairly early on. I feel like we had started to get our feet under us with it, but I know it was early.
Yeah, we did a whole episode. We did a whole episode of Bones and All. Episode 20, if anyone wants to. I mean, it's not a whole episode. It's The Fableman and Bones, and then also maybe something else. I don't know. It's called The Fable, Bones, and Mall. So maybe we had something else on it. You know, who knows what are on these episodes that are randomly titled. So episode 20, people go back and listen to that. But the other thing, we haven't had an episode. We haven't talked on the podcast, specifically about this movie, but we've gushed over it, whether it's on the podcast or off the podcast. The big one is Call Me by Your Name. He also directed this movie, which we both love that movie, and we'll sneak it onto a movie club at some point, I'm sure. So
we'll get it in there.
Yeah, which shocks me, and to me, and hey, it has high ratings, so I'm not about to be like, and I also don't think it was necessarily garbage or anything. It just felt like a movie that was for a younger generation than me personally, because I mean, you mentioned before I saw this, you mentioned the music at one point. Dude, it was like it was like a rave. I thought they were going to start singing with how loud the music was sometimes. Yeah. Like the fact that they have composers listed is bonkers to me, because it really just felt like they looked up free rave music and just put that in at everywhere. Like there maybe was like 2 non-ravey songs. Other than that, it was just bass beats. It's all it was.
I think if I had it, that's my biggest criticism of the movie is the music took me out so hard, because it was so loud and it was so misplaced and it was all over the place. And I like that it still, it had the same theme overall, as far as scores go, but it wasn't like, the same theme and then variations on this theme. It was just the same fucking 20 seconds just looped over and over. At least that's what it felt like. So I agree. The composers, I was going to look up and see if I can find who they were quickly, but I'm not seeing
They
them.
have done some other stuff that aren't like Social Network they did, which, I mean, I haven't seen Social Network in forever, so I couldn't tell you remember what the music is like in there.
Yeah, Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross are pretty big names in the industry. They've done quite a lot. They're on IMDb, they're known for their Social Network, Mank, The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, The Killer they just did. They did Bones and All, Empire of Light. So they definitely know their way around a score and instruments and how to kind of pull emotion out of music. But Challengers teetered on the edge of, this is just too much. This is just too much. There were some moments when it was, okay, cool, kind of, getting you hyped up and kind of getting you pumped for, the game at hand or the match that we were about to see and kind of, the intense back and forth. But overall, it was to me, that was my biggest complaint, is it was way too loud and it was way too misplaced.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the music, what you said about the music, I agree with the music, and I would personally extend it to editing, to the camera movement, to some of the director choices. It was a lot of stuff. If we had taken 30% of it, I would have loved it. I would have been fine with it. But we did it everywhere. It's just like when you we'll roll to some of the camera movements and stuff. Like I mentioned, I mean, we're POV of a fucking tennis ball at some point, which I want to throw up. But we also did video game stuff randomly in the middle too, where we were literally POV of one of the tennis players. And, we didn't see that. We just saw it randomly. It really to me, and I know he can make movies, and I would love to know where, I don't want to place blame, but hypothetically where the blame would kind of be, because I don't know. I didn't like some of the editing choices were, I didn't like, and it was, now is this the script that they walked up to and it included all of these things and they, were fine with it? Or was it a normal script and then they walked up to it and went, you know what, I want to do it like this and I want to do it like that, which, fourth wall breaks where you're just center in the camera and it's, it's meant to be intimate. It's meant to connect you with the character. Yeah, but we did it 40 fucking times during the movie for everybody. So it loses its appeal so quickly. And it's the POV of stuff or zooms or slow motions. Again, it's I'm cool with it when you use it sparingly and to, when you choose to kind of break the rules for a purpose. It felt much more like, he showed up going, I want to just do everything I've ever thought about with no consequences, and I'm going to do it this way and do this way. I don't care. I haven't been able to do it on the other movies, so I'm doing it now. Fuck it. And it was just way too much.
Because I thought the camera and the editing style was actually pretty meticulously chosen to
Bullshit.
Feel exactly like a tennis match. That's what it felt like to me.
Yeah, okay. Again, I'm okay with it during the tennis match maybe, again, some of it. But they did some of the stuff on non-tennis match stuff where it's supposed to be intimate. There was half lazy, there's a camera pan in the locker room one of the times. They went cut back, which they also jumped the 180, whatever. Multiple times throughout they jumped 180. But one of the times they went back and forth of cutting to one person talking, other person talking. Then they went up to the window. Then they started to pan the camera down, it went maybe 2 feet, then cut. And it wasn't you went half in between let me cut back to the person normal or let me pan back. They did a incomplete pan. And then they, would do a camera movement that was the camera would randomly take 2 quick steps forward. And then that was it. It's not even let's pan into their head or let me, motion, dolly into them. It was it was a half of something. And it felt incomplete and it felt in between to me.
Interesting. Yeah, no, I totally felt like it worked because once I realized, like, no, this is the entire movie is a tennis match, right? This back and forth. I thought the editing actually fell into place, and I thought the camera movements, like you said, I mean, it kind of had this half swing where you're kind of like half looking at, in one direction, but instead you stop to watch something else.
Okay.
It totally, to me, felt like it was absolutely you were the audience watching this back and forth between these characters at every time, and I thought, there were some choices like the tennis POV, the tennis ball POV, and some of those, quick crash cuts. Those were some choices that, a lot of people probably wouldn't make. But I think it definitely had its own style. And overall, I actually enjoyed it for what it produced, because it was heavy-handed. I will say it was heavy-handed, but I think it worked. The writer, this is Justin Kuritsky's first feature, actually, that he's written.
Yeah, that makes sense to me.
Yeah, congrats to him with that. But he is married to Celine Song, who did Past Lives.
Mm-hmm. Checks out. I wonder how he got his movie made. I would like to know. Also, do you know who would you call the editor? Post-production coordinator?
No, I'd call the editor the editor.
Okay, second assistant editor, film scanner, online editor, colorist, assistant editor, post-production coordinator, first assistant editor, film scanning. Is there another place that it will say editor other than the editorial department, I guess?
I shouldn't. What? It really does. Here, let me
dialogue editor. You want supervising editor, sound department.
Wow. Well, that's kind of crazy. I guess we give it to the first assistant editor, or the post-production coordinator, I suppose.
Well, I mean, there's two. I think there's two post-production editors. And I mean, I'm scanning through a ton of this, and to me, it really makes sense that there's a lot of, newer people. It feels like,
Mm-hmm.
The only other stuff they've been together, they're on Assassin Club, and then Bones and All, I think. Which hey, I mean, we didn't like Bones and All. We had problems with Bones and All, and to me, it just feels like they're being experimental with not working. But hey, again, for my opinion, because I think they did. I think they did this stuff too much, and I think they went too overboard, and they should have taken 2 steps back personally and done some of the stuff and not all of the stuff. But you liked it. You thought it was good. So, it's a matter of opinion. I also was watching this going, I bet you, me personally, I'm just saying younger generation because of the music, because of the, the POVs, because of the, cutting and stuff. I assume they would like it more. I wasn't able to find really where like the reviews are based on age and whatnot. I really wish I could find it. So that I could.
Yeah, I can totally see this being skewed towards the younger generation, and them, kind of latching on a little bit more. And it's got younger actors as well. I mean, Zendaya's still young. Mike Faist is pretty young. Josh O'Connor's pretty young. So it's definitely got that up and comer feel. And I'm actually pretty excited by what I saw and where we could go with these guys. Where everyone, I thought, showed a decent enough amount of range that I'd be like, okay, I'm interested to see what you can do next. I'm interested to see where you go, acting wise.
Okay, acting wise. Okay.
Obviously, Zendaya, I think she's fantastic. I really think she really played this character extremely well. This meticulous, methodical, maniacal, controlling, superstar who thought she was better than every single other human being on planet Earth. And she played that exceptionally well.
I personally disagree. I think the younger version of everybody was fantastic. I really, really loved the essentially pre-injury acting, and I thought Zendaya felt forced after that. So Zendaya's, stern and mean felt very forced to me. It didn't have there is a fine line between, she always has to be, in a bad mood. She's not allowed to smile and stuff. But then there's no emotion really. It's like, if I'm going to, it's, Miles Teller, or like the other guy that we think maybe there's another person, but it's like just being a straight face. And it's like, yes, I understand. The actor told them, I'm sure, fantastic. You were the character that I'm sure was built, but it very felt forced to me. And it very didn't feel like a natural character and a real person. It felt like a fake, written down, forced human being to me.
Interesting.
I thought the other two were fine, but
I didn't feel like it was too forced. I thought, the guys were actually really good playing off each other, and their emotions came through, I thought, pretty well and very clearly of, hey, I'm kind of just doing this for you, and no, I want this, live or die. This is my life. I'm going to just sleep in my car if that's what it takes. I'm going to be a tennis player. Like, I think that they played those versions quite well, the two sides of the same coin. I really, and I'm sure that you're going to disagree, but I thought that the delivery of the story was actually really well done as well. I thought the dialogue was actually
you are
pretty
correct. I'm going to disagree.
Was crisp and realistic. And I thought that, because they don't really necessarily say what they feel, but they express what they're thinking through their body language and their emotion. And it wasn't necessarily just, yes, this is, I am angry at you. Oh, I don't want you to do that. It was very much, played in the looks and in the silence.
I don't know. Like, one of the lines was literally, you came in here, dick swinging, quite literally. I mean, was that not very heavy-handed? Like, literally, that's what they did. Like, he went into the sauna naked for a reason because he was dick swinging. And then the guy said, you came in here dick swinging, literally. I don't know. Right. That seems very, it felt, I didn't love it. I was very excited. I was excited for the story. I'm so down for, the intimate, watching kind of characters turn into different characters and the choices. And I don't think like the story was bad necessarily. I don't think it was like, oh, none of these people should have done this, these choices. I just didn't like the way they decided to tell it, and they jumped around constantly. And like, to the point of like when they were talking about Zendaya sleeping with, I'm never going to remember their names, the non-husband one in Atlanta, they went 8 days, they were like, what, the timestamp was 8 years prior. There was one quick scene with no words. Then they cut to 1 day prior, which I couldn't figure out if that meant 1 day before what we just saw, but in reality it meant 1 day before current, what is current, which was the match. Then the next scene, it went back to Atlanta with no timestamp. And it's just like, I felt like that happened all the time, where it was like, now we're here. And I couldn't sink into any characters. Like, we're constantly, I can't keep tabs of like where their emotions are at each point, because, we're at this point of the relationship. So this person should be here. This person should be, we're already back to a different timeline. Okay. Now this person, no shit. We're back to the one previously. And that's what I felt like it was, is like, I'm okay with jumping around. Again, the theme of this movie for me is they did everything too much. I'm down with jumping around. I'm down with, starting at the present and then jumping back to see where we're at. And we did get to sink in a little bit to when they were really young, pre-injury. Like, we really kind of got to get sink into their characters and like really feel them. But then after that, it felt like it jumped around. And that's probably why I liked that the most. It felt like it was the least, experimental. It felt like it was the least jumping around. And I'm assuming that's why I enjoyed it the most, is just because we did get to like really experience him as kids. And then it was this age. And they also don't look at their older age. It didn't feel like they looked the older age to me. They looked natural at the younger age.
They definitely were better at playing teenagers than they were
even like
playing
makeup
30
to me,
30,
makeup
40
wise too. I was like, Zendaya's not that.
But yeah, no, you got a lot of whiplash from the back and forth with it. I'm surprised that I didn't get lost. Like, a lot of times when we talk about, these, time jumps back and forth, especially without any kind of labels on it, I get very confused about, all right, where exactly are we and when is everything supposed to be happening? And for this one, I felt I was able to follow it pretty, I hope pretty accurately. Maybe that's why I liked his, because maybe I didn't follow it and I just got my own story out of it. But what I liked about the jumping back and forth and perspective shifts is we actually got to see kind of the highs and the lows of both of our main characters, both of the guys, Art and I'm blanking on the other guy's name.
Jeff. It's not Jeff. I just made that up. Steve.
Patrick.
Frank.
Between Art and Patrick, and so instead of just rooting for Art, Art and Zendaya because they're married and they're the power couple and that's who we saw first and they ended up together. Why were they supposed to be the good people?
No, exactly. I was never even rooting for them. I was like, God, you guys are annoying.
Well, they all three were kind of annoying. Let's be honest.
Well, I think the other dude wasn't annoying until later. Like I thought he was annoying when he was a kid and stuff. Honestly, I didn't think he was bad. He was
just kind of cocky, a
little bit. I mean, sure. He was a little cocky, but I don't think he was even that cocky. But I agree with you. When it continued as he was an adult, I'm with you. He was annoying, but. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I wasn't like
he never grew out of that phase. That's what it was. Is that he had that, but yeah, he never.
By the end, they all were annoying. But I was like, why are we rooting against this guy? We even saw him sleep in his car.
Is that we were, we in the beginning it was like we were rooting against this guy, and then it's like, oh no, he actually, he is doing something he loves. He's doing his passion. He's giving up a lot of privileges to make sure that he continues to pursue this, and he still has his challenges he has to overcome. So we got a little bit more of that, and I kind of like that we got that perspective shift. And then, especially at the very end, when Tashi comes back after sleeping with him, and it's like, oh shit, like this is a bad person.
Stop. I don't remember where we were at.
So this might be a rough transition. Matt had a package delivery, so he had to take a break. So.
Yep,
I don't remember exactly what
they
I
all
said.
saw the break video. It happens.
All right, cool. So we're back. The last thing that I was going to say about the performance, at least that I was remembering, is how broken I felt inside when Tashi came back after sleeping with Patrick in his car and comes back in the middle of the night and finds her husband in her daughter's bed. To what I presume to be because their daughter was like, hey, I'm scared. I need someone here. And Patrick is like, well, she's fucking not here, so I'm going to be an actual parent and go and take care of our child together.
I assumed the opposite of that. He woke up, didn't see his wife, and was still like alone and wanted to sleep next to somebody. And that, and so went to sleep in his daughter's room because she loves him, unlike his wife. That's what I assumed. I assumed the opposite, that he was looking for somebody rather than the daughter looking for somebody.
Interesting
either
point of view. I
true.
like that.
Either could be true. Either way, she's a bitch.
Either way, she's extremely controlling, and she is not a good person in any way, shape, or form.
And acting wise, I think Zendaya was forced, but like I loved all the younger stuff. Like I said, even the guys, I didn't dislike the older them. We got a significantly less like expressive and less emotions, and so it's really much more of a like not watered down, but I don't know, black and white version of them, which to me isn't as fun to watch a long term of. But it was. I did like the story, and it did, at least the acting, I think, did express the story enough. Like the story was my favorite part of the entire film, and I was very excited to watch it and watch this woman who realistically she started. I saw somewhere it wasn't my my thought, but I watched somewhere that showed a clip of her on the beach, and they said, they even set her up like a siren. She could have been, she was laying on the beach, leaned back and stuff, which is what she was really, felt like what she was really early was, she kind of wanted to just fuck up a relationship and have some fun and just mess around. The logic jump to then she started dating one of them felt weird to me, but either way, we kind of watched one, it feels like to me more of one guy's life wrapped up with this woman that he probably, it was good for him and what he wanted at the time. And then ultimately when you get to at the end of the road, it's depressing, but I think that's what he wanted. And that's what he's, really geared up for realistically, stealing it, prying her away from his friend, fully well knowing what the relationship would be and wanting it and wanted to be her student, wanted to be, kept by her basically. But then we get to the end and it's still depressing. And I think the acting was good enough to really convey the emotions going into that, the final match. Yeah.
So what did you think, before we get to our ratings, what did you think about the actual ending? Because it felt very much like, we're back and forth. Hey, I'm rooting for Art. I'm rooting for Patrick. These two friends, I want to be on one side. I want to be on the other side. I don't like him. I don't like him. And then it culminates, like I said, with her coming back. It's like, oh, actually, she's the villain. She's the one I need to be rooting against. And I kind of want these two friends to be friends again. And that, to me, at least, is what the ending felt like. Is like, hey, we're gonna, show that in the end, these guys are actually gonna, at least on the court, be able to respect each other.
So you like the ending, Brandon? Is that what you're telling me?
Not necessarily, no.
Thank God, because if you said you liked the ending, all this was a wash, and your opinion doesn't mean shit. Because that would have been a bold-faced fucking lie, Brandon. If you wanted that to end abruptly in the middle like that with no resolution, slightly speculative bullshit, it's just like I would have, I get what they're going for.
Wait, sorry.
Okay,
come back.
Well, you closed your eyes for a really long time, and I was like, I'm assuming he's not asleep. I get what they're going for. That we're so excited that they chose each other, even though they're assholes to each other too. What the one slept with the married woman, his wife, and ultimately, I don't know. They're both mean to each other. They're both bad to each other with no real reason necessarily. I would say the non-married one had slightly more reason to hate the married one. The married one, he hated his buddy. Why? Because he wasn't at the meet that Zendaya, Tashi got hurt at. That's the only reason. Or because
I'd say the reason is because he found out that he was cheating on his wife. Or cheating with his wife.
He hated that before. They didn't talk before that. He screamed at him to get out of the equipment room. The hatred towards him felt very much like, the married one just wanted to be Zendaya's bitch, and that's what it was. And Zendaya's mad, so I have to be mad. So it felt kind of forced to me, necessarily, until he found out that he was cheating and stuff. But that was years after. That was years after the first initial, I'm angry and I'm not going to talk to you. Even when he wasn't even with Zendaya at that time either.
I think it's because it's jealousy. And so at the first opportunity of, hey, I'm gonna be the one for her. I'm gonna be there for her. I'm gonna take the slightest slip up, and you know what? Nope, she's mine now. Stay the fuck away from her. Because I'm jealous of what you guys had. I'm jealous that she chose you. I'm gonna go ahead and force myself into this.
I hear you, but there was a years gap between when they were at Applebee's and when she got hurt and he yelled at him to get out, and then they were at Applebee's. There was 3-year gap or something like that, and he still was angry at him, but whatever, small potatoes. But the ending, I get what they're going where they wanted to. Oh, hey, the game. It's more important than the game, our friendship, and we need to find ourselves. And the one guy found his passion again, and the other one, I guess, exciting that he has a friend again, because it's not like his life was getting better or he really woke up. Is he gonna? Sure. Is that we're supposed to decide? Oh, what we got from the meaning was he's not gonna sleep with married women, or he's gonna do better in tennis now. I guess
Yeah, that's what it is. What I really liked, the thing
I was annoyed that
the
game is still going. The match is still going. That wasn't the end of the match, because it still wasn't even
I thought that was match point. I thought that was the last to break the tie and give it to Art.
Who's the married guy?
He was the married guy, yeah.
No.
I thought that's how I saw that going.
Net violation. You can't touch the net during the point. He jumped over and the net.
Oh,
the other
I
guy
forgot about that
absolutely got
rule.
that point. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, so whatever. I get the dramatic. It made no sense. It was the weirdest. It was the most like dramatic movie point ever too. The rest of the stuff was like
Definitely
fine, you know, movie style where everything has to be important and it's not just like a casual, you know, volley, whatnot. But everything has to be as hard as you hit and all this shit. But it was fine.
Sure. The thing that I liked the most about the ending was not the of the back and forth when they're actually hitting the ball, which I know tennis players actually make noises, but goddamn,
yeah,
that was a bit much. No, it was Zendaya's like scream, like because we saw that character as terrible of a person as she is, we saw that character finally her passion reignited because you know she had this ferocity to her, and when she's playing she's got this fire and this intensity, and we see it expressed and released when she beats the one chick at the college match, and then she gets hurt and now she can't play. She can't do what she knows that she's better than most people at the level that she wants to do it at. And so she kind of, then she takes a back seat and she's a coach and she's just kind of unhappy with her life. And that's where all this, spirals and out of control because she's trying to be so manipulative and try to get control again. She finally finds that passion again. She finally sees, somebody who actually cares about tennis as much as she does in this last match. So I like that moment. I don't know if, that necessarily would actually be the case if all of these events play out and then, her husband's jumping at her ex-lover would actually be like, oh, you know what? I like tennis again.
She's going to get a divorce. She's not going to coach the other one. She's like, I don't know what's going to happen.
Life's going to spiral out of control.
But I enjoyed watching the one good match of porn.
Yes, exactly. I finally got to see a good match. Finally. I like that point and I like that, back to one basically. So,
and also the one thing about her story too was kind of annoyed me was that she went to Stanford, like they were talking, oh, I can't believe you're going to college. And what was her response? Oh, I don't want. The only thing to do is be able to hit a tennis ball. So she's in Stanford. It's her first year, I assume. And then she gets hurt. Is this not literally the perfect possible time that she could get hurt in her first year of college, in a good college, to then go to college, keep the scholarship because they're not going to get rid of her scholarship. She's learning while she's slowly recuperating. Like literally it was built perfectly for that situation. But we didn't get to hear. I guess she just fucked off or something or dropped out of school or...
I think she was fucking bullshitting. I think that she absolutely wanted to be a tennis player, and she's like, "No, I'm gonna get educated, and I'm gonna be a more well-rounded person." And then you see, no, she's like top of her game, and she knows that she's the shit. And now
she would have just gone pro. That was the whole thing.
Exactly.
But she didn't. She didn't go pro. She went to Stanford.
Exactly. I think that was
bad writing, personally.
All right, that's fair.
Well, those contradict to me. Where she knows she's the baddest, then that means she'd just go pro. But why would she go to Stanford in any way, shape, or form?
I believe that she had a reason.
We're gonna roll into ratings. I do have a question though. I looked at the subreddit on tennis. How they somebody asked them how they felt about the tennis in Challengers. And it felt like the consensus was, it's the exciting version of tennis. We all know, they don't hit it as hard as they can every single time. It's not always dramatic.
Sure.
Other than that, it was good. They said some of the techniques were bad. They're actors. The grips were kind of off here and there, and you'd see it more on straightaways and whatnot. And the last point was ridiculous. But other than that, they felt happy with the tennis, and there wasn't a lot of people bashing, being like, "Oh, I couldn't watch this." They talked about other movies that they couldn't watch because of that. But sports wise, which is always a big thing when it is a sports movie, ultimately, making it believable and making the people who are passionate about that sport also enjoy it, and which is it's a tough thing to do sometimes with actors who are just theater kids. They don't play sports,
right? Exactly, who don't play sports and. So yeah, so that's encouraging to hear that there wasn't too many mistakes. I mean, we watch Major League and Major League 2. There's not a lot of baseball playing, but what we did see felt like baseball. Like, those movies I think are far and few between that actually feel like the sport that they're portraying. So I'm glad that this one did as well.
There was one thing that I want somebody needs to be able to explain to me, because I feel like I was taking crazy pills, but they the between in the final set, between the second and third set, the final game between the second and third set, they even said, we were at the beginning of the third set, and they said the one dude's up, one love one or whatever. But am I not, between sets, you don't win a game. Like the game, like the end of second set, there shouldn't be any games won in your third set. You take a break in between the sets and then change sides, and you begin the set, should be 0-0. Love, whatever.
Should be?
Yeah, that's what I'm pretty positive. I'm almost positive that. So I don't understand. That confused me. And even the scoreboard said 1, and I was like, the fuck's going on? And even the announcer said 1. And then I was, so maybe I missed something, but it really felt like somebody won a game before the third set started.
Yeah, just for dramatic purposes. Sure, we're just gonna give him a game. We're just gonna give it to him. It's fine.
That's why I was like, I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. This has to be something that I don't realize.
Yeah, or it's very possible there was a scene that was cut. Maybe that's a good question. I don't know, and I don't watch enough tennis to understand sets and game sets match exactly, and how many games you have to win a set to 6. Win a match. Like, I'm not 100%
6 and
sure
win by
that.
2. Anyways,
Cool.
Go ahead.
Cool.
I played tennis before, bro.
I've swung a tennis racket.
Hell yeah.
I actually really enjoy tennis.
I've broken a couple tennis rackets before.
Have you really?
Oh yeah, kidding me? I've also broken a couple golf clubs, but when I was younger. I'm an adult now. I can fairly generally control my emotions.
I see. Fairly sometimes. Let's go play sometime.
Sure, I'll beat the shit out of you.
Well, that's not what I said. I said play.
That's what's going to happen, though.
Oh, okay. All right, we're on. You're on. Let's do it. Let's fucking go. Let's go. All right, so I think I know where I'm going to put this. Despite, a handful of plot holes, and despite the whiplash that you suffered from the editing, I thought the editing and the cinematography were actually really interesting and helped carry this. I liked the characters. I liked the development. I thought we got interesting, dimensional characters that had more to do than just be on screen. I liked the game. I liked, the back and forth. The main thing for me was the score. It was too overwhelming. But I thought the delivery of the story was really where the weight of this movie came from. And I enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It definitely is, I think, one of the better ones of 2024, for sure. But I don't think it's not like Oppenheimer or Barbie level from last year. Like, it's just definitely lacking, I don't know, the real goodness, the real
quality,
awards,
skill,
quality, I guess. But I liked it. So I'm going to give this one an 8 out of 10.
Oof. 8 out of 10.
I like this one.
Oh, wait. I was going to do 8 out of 10. Let me put that in real quick. That's... God! I do it all the time, where I click the Google Meet and not the actual presentation. Let's see. So you did 8 out of 10. That puts it roughly in the range of Marcel, the Shell with Shoes On, Past Lives, Saw, The Holdovers, Godzilla -1, Jesus, Challengers, Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark, The War for the Planet of the Apes, Terminator 2, and Men in Black.
I'd say it's around there. Maybe a
better
little
than
high, but
I think the fact that it's on the same as Godzilla -1 and Holdovers, he's bonkers to me. But hey, to each their own. To each their own. All right, let's see. For me, I would say I really think that there is a version of this movie that I really would love to know what the original script was. if it was a more traditional, I think I would like it more, because I do love the thought of watching three people kind of manipulate each other's lives and how they affect each other and what kind of people they are and what they want to do. And, ultimately their lives are affected by the choices that, they made. And we get to watch it and really like sink into these lives and feel like I'm part of these lives. But to me, I don't personally think that's what I got. I think I got we jumped around timelines. This year, now we're at this year, now we're ahead, now we're back. I couldn't keep straight of where everyone is, especially because, the years in between were quick time stamps, and then they would jump to present day, then jump back to it. And, I think the grand scheme of things is I felt like I liked the movie if they had stopped fucking with it. And they had all their individual stuff that they wanted to do and be unique, and we can't do the original and the normal stuff. And I wanted the normal stuff personally. I wanted it to just be a slow meandering, dive into character study. I wanted. Instead, we got a rave. We got half camera pans, and then a mid cut, and then a jump, the 180, and then we got a POV of the tennis ball for a while. Then we got POV of characters like it's a video game. Then we got, it was just, one after another, and I couldn't like relax into the movie. And that's not, maybe I went in with wrong expectations, but either way, I did not enjoy it. I can't fathom putting it up against any other things this year. I'm going to cry if it's in Best Picture, because you put it next to some Best Picture, winner, you associated it and put it in the same breath as the Best Picture of the year last year. But I'm in the 7 range. Hold on.
I said it wasn't to that level.
Yeah, but you're literally comparing it to, hey, it's not as good as Interstellar. I'll say that, it's not as good as, but as soon as you like put that name next to another name, those are, put in the same sentence to me. Anyways, let's see. I mean, I think Civil War was way better. I think some other stuff that's coming, Kingdom, I think was way fucking better. I'm in the 7 range, which would be a 7 flat puts me at like Emily the Criminal, Cocaine Bear, Inside, Super Mario Brothers, Flamin' Hot. I think I'm going to do a 7. I think I'm going to stick with that, a 7 flat, because to me, I put it next to like kind of Emily the Criminal. I like the underlining, story and idea and thought and hope that they were aiming for, but I just don't, I think they missed. And I think they, didn't want to just make the normal version of this. They really wanted to do something drastically different, which they did, which I'm sure other people will like. I just did not enjoy it, and it's definitely not the movie I wanted. So I'm going to 7 flat.
All right. Looking for my Emily rating. I had that as 6.75. I see that. I think that comparison with Emily the Criminal is very fair, where it's very early in the filmmaker's journey, and they're still trying to figure out exactly what kind of style they want to do.
But that's what confuses me, because the director is not early in his career. I feel like everyone else is. So I don't know. I would love to know who had say in everything, because I don't know if it's the director that wanted to do some stuff, or because he's cranked out a couple of movies. I guess we didn't love Bones and All, which to me, this is just like an extension of like Bones and All. I saw what they wanted, but they fucking missed. And, it's not, I was excited going in. It really is matching with Bones and All a lot. What did I rate Bones and All for? You did 6.25.
You were at 6 flat.
6 flat. So,
yeah.
I don't know. I guess it'd be, I don't know. Yeah, I'm going to go 7 flat, and maybe I change it at the end of the year because I watch it again and I'm like, ugh, gross. Or it gets in Best Picture nomination and I want to just knock it down a peg so it doesn't get too big for its britches.
So it gets Best Picture nomination, and you go all the way up to a 9.25.
No,
Calling it now.
No, I'll go down.
It now.
No, I'll go down so it doesn't get too big. So I'll go down to 6 to be like, let's level this shit off because that's crazy. Yeah, I don't know. Civil War, Monkey Man, I think was better this year.
I would put it around. Honestly, I think I like Challengers more than Monkey Man personally.
I don't know. I can see it being like, I can see that level. But to me, give me Love Lies Bleeding, Dune 2, Civil War, Fall Guy, all of those above this without a question. From this year, just quickly from this year. Like Ghostbusters was more fun, but I don't know if it was like, technically crazy. But they knew what they were, and I think they did it well. Personally,
I agree with you there. I agree with you there.
Driveway Dolls, it's where personally Driveway Dolls, I think it's a better version of Driveway Dolls.
Okay.
Well, actually, it's kind of like experienced director that was like, what the fuck happened? Right.
He
clearly made the writer's movie, basically.
Yeah.
That's what I'm wondering if that's what it was. Interesting.
Maybe that is what that was. Well, we'll never know, but...
All right.
All right, sweets. We'll never know. Awesome. Thanks for hanging out and listening and watching. For those of you who join us on YouTube, hello, everybody.
Sorry about all the flickering and Brandon out of focus because of the Wi-Fi. We'll eventually get better, possibly.
Yeah, we'll fix that hopefully shortly. Don't know why the Wi-Fi decided today, of all days, is going to just play in and out. So thanks for stopping by. For anyone who's listening, come check us out. We're over on YouTube. We're at What We Watched. We've also got a bunch of other socials where we are interacting with everybody. Last week we were talking the end of our fantastic franchise, our most recent of the Planet of the Apes. We talked Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes, which I, again, highly recommend going to see. Stick around next week. We're going to be talking Furiosa, the new Mad Max movie.
Woo!
So,
the only thing I'm scared about that, watching the trailer, is I feel like there's more CG in it than I think there should. But anyways,
or they've just gotten really, really good at destroying cars. Maybe that's it. Maybe it just looks really...
it looks fake.
I know.
They got so good that it looks fake. Is that let's go backwards.
So good. Yeah, exactly.
Let's go back to film. Hello.
Hey now.
All right. Anyways, yes. We got movie club outdoors. Right now,
nature.
Yeah, and then movie club this month is outdoors. We're gonna have Castaway, 127 hours, and Hunt for the Wilder People.
I really want to make a this is the end joke. 127 hours. I don't know why that sticks with me every time I hear that title.
God, I hate you so much.
Can't wait to do more movies.
But so tune in those Sundays. I don't know what the first one will be, but it should be coming out. It'll be fun. And we'll have some more games this month. Also, we're gonna have multiple games. The last Sunday, it was if someone wants to watch, we had a game last Sunday. It was just Jeff and I. Very fair warning. Watch it on YouTube. We tried to play some games. We ultimately had fun. We're halfway through a Marvel quiz on Sporkle that we will have to go back to. Brandon, you're gonna have to help us. All right. We'll finish that on our next. We're gonna do another one of those. We're gonna do some more games that Brandon makes and then I make. June's gonna be a fun month, and we're gonna probably record one. We're gonna all go camping. We'll record a camping episode at some point. It should be fun. It's a good month.
It's gonna be a fun, outdoorsy, nature-involved month.
So excited to go camping. Let's fucking go. Let's go.
Camping. All right, guys. Enjoy the movies, and we'll talk to you later.
Bye.
Peace.